Hello everyone. Time for another real life conversation because my day's been interesting. So grab yourself a cup of coffee and pull up a seat. The reason I call this a real life conversation is because today, I had a grand plan. I got up early. I only had one client this morning. Was going to be home by 8:30-ish. Didn't have another person I was meeting with till 12:30, so I had 4 hours that I was really excited to use for what I wanted to, because so rarely do I have time to just do what I want to do. I mean, I had plans to exercise, putter around, run errands, relax, plan supper, whatever stuff I wanted to do. And exercise has kind of become high on my list because I sit a lot and I'm trying to sit less, but something always happens where it just doesn't work out. This felt like one of those days. So enter the scenario of me getting in my car this morning and taking off for about, 200 feet down the road and realizing that my low tire gauge was on yet again. Was on yesterday. I had checked it. My tire was at 30 pounds. I put 10 pounds in it, so it was up to 40. And I thought, weird, but maybe it was cold temperature, probably has a slow leak, might be okay, right? Anyways, this morning when I turned around and came back to the garage again to put more air in my tire, it was down 20 pounds in less than 24 hours. So obviously that's a bad leak. So I put air in the tire and I headed to pick up my kiddo, hoping and praying it would be good, because obviously it wasn't leaking that fast, but did my things, dropped him off at school, decided I would just hang out in town for a while and go to the place where I get my services done on my car and see if they could look at my tire, because it probably wasn't safe to be driving around too much longer. So waited around till 8 o'clock, talked to them and they said, no, we really don't have time. Like they have a full day planned. And I had clients all afternoon. So I was about ready to turn around and walk out and go find somewhere else when a tech walked up and said, my first appointment was really quick, so I'm free. What do you want me to do? And I'm like, pick me. So they took my car right away and I was sitting in the waiting room, waiting for stuff. And it actually happened pretty quickly. They came in and said, hey, we can't fix that tire. It's junk. The hole's too high in a place they can't fix it. So you're going to have to get 4 new tires. And I was thinking, okay. Like I had been kind of bitter about my time, like sitting in this waiting room, sitting here I wasn't doing what I wanted to do. I want to get out of here. But this situation resolved itself very quickly, which was great. Even though I was still being a little snarky about it. But I walked out with them and, figured out what kind of tires we needed. They okayed it with my company, whatever. We got the whole thing straightened out. And then I was on my way. And the irony of this is that I ended up getting 4 new tires out of the deal. And I was a little bit nervous going into the winter with the tires I had on that little car. It's a company car, obviously. They decide when I get new tires, but they weren't the greatest. And we live in Minnesota. So any little bit of snow and it's, got the clearance of this. I was a little bit sketchy whether they were going to actually work through the winter. So even though it wasn't on my agenda for today, God provided me with a pretty quick appointment that happened when they didn't have time, and I'm getting 4 new tires out of the deal. So starting to get a little more grateful, right? Was not my plan for the day, but God is blessing me even though I was kind of trying to hoard my time and not be very grateful for this inconvenience in my day. So I'm wondering, was this God's subtle reminder that my time is his time? And that even though I felt that I needed more time to refill my gas tank, that in all actuality, he's got plenty of gas to fill my tank, if I allow it. Even to allowing my tire to start losing air on a day when I had time to take care of it. That doesn't always happen for me because a lot of times I'm busting my butt from 6:30 in the morning until 8 o'clock at night. I would not have had time to stop and get a tire fixed. I would have had to cancel a bunch of people. So, which I can do, but not optimal, right? So this happened on a day when I actually could do something about it. And it didn't happen when a client was in the car with me. You know, there was no blowout of a tire or dangerous situation like that. So like this kind of was like the best case scenario for all real world problems, right? So even though I wasn't feeling very grateful, I'm thinking to myself, you know, I think I better turn my little train around. You know, how do you deal with struggles when your day doesn't go how you want it to? Like, who throws a monkey wrench in your day? Is it someone, something? Your family is a priority, and then your needs aren't as much of a priority. Like, if you're a parent, you know what that feels like. It seems like your needs and wants, whatever, are always taking a back seat to whatever's going on in the kids' lives, or, you know, maybe elderly parents or something going on, a commitment at your school or your job or something like that. So things that get under our skin, should they? I mean, we're human, right? But the way I look at it is like Jesus was always taking time out of his day to chat with his disciples. He, I'm sure, had an agenda of what his time here on earth was probably supposed to look like. There probably wasn't a heavenly schedule, right? But he took time to talk with us about sometimes some of the dumbest stuff. I'm going to pick on a couple of disciples here. Dumb stuff like, who gets to sit on his right and his left? Really? Doesn't seem very important to me. But at the time, that was really important to those two disciples. I've never felt judged by God for bringing things to him that probably are not of the utmost importance, or at least not important is in what the plan is that he has for my life. I've never felt that I was not or should not bring those things to him. It's my little life, and you know, it's, even if it's maybe I'm off track a little bit, it's still important, and he listens. Doesn't always give me what I want, but he listens. So in this case, my tire was obviously very unsafe, and he provided a way for me to get my need straight to the top of the list the quickest way possible, and then bless me above and beyond, because 4 tires, let's be real, I like that. But at the time, all I could do was complain. Till the situation like played itself out. I'm like, oh, well, didn't that work out in my favor? But I did a little whining first. So as far as turning that around, like, it's okay that we're disappointed, but I think we have to look at how, even if something doesn't present itself, like I got 4 tires out of the deal and everything was really quick. What if it hadn't been? Would I have been okay with just saying, you know what, God, this is what I need to do today? I'm going to say thank you anyway. Even if it's down to that tire didn't blow with me driving. I'm still safe. I'm here. I'm sitting in a waiting room while somebody works on my car. How quick do I turn around and say thank you? I thought my self-care was way more important this morning, but God thought my self-care, not dying, was way more important. Like, his level of self-care that he had planned for me was way deeper than the level of self-care I had planned for myself this morning. He didn't want me on the road with that tire. He took care of me and the situation and actually lined things up like super smoothly. So I think I spent about 30 extra minutes away from home this morning that I wouldn't have actually spent. So you couldn't really like plan it any better than that. It was pretty epic. It was a great deal. So like I said, I have to stop my whining a little bit and just appreciate what God's doing, even if it's not as perfect as I think. But this was beyond anything much better than I could have ever imagined. Here's a few scripture verses that, you know, we can hang on to, because God is working all the time, even if we don't see it. 1 Thessalonians 5:18. Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus for you. Philippians 4:6. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. Psalm 8:4. What is man that you are mindful of him, and the Son of Man that you care for him? Who are we that he bothers to set up tire appointments? And here, instead of 1, I'll give you 4. Why does he bother himself with that? Matthew 6:30. But if God so clothes the grass of the field, which today is alive and tomorrow is thrown into the oven, will he not much more clothe you, O you of little faith? He clothed my car with tires. John 15:7. If you abide in me and my words abide in you, ask whatever you wish and it will be done for you. Nahum 1:7. The Lord is good, a stronghold in the day of trouble. He knows those who take refuge in him. Those who take refuge in him. If I had needed to spend the morning in the waiting room of the dealership, do you think he could have given me rest there? If I had needed to spend my whole morning there, do you think he could have filled my tank, given me my sense of peace, all the things that I was so desperate to do this morning? Do you think he could have met me there? Is the only place I could get my tank filled here in my little house on the schedule that I planned? I think we need to consider that God can give us anything we need anywhere, if you let him. Big key there. So let God meet your needs today, wherever you are. Maybe not in the place you had planned, but he can do it. See you next time.